Hey guys, we're back with another Final Fantasy video. Today we're going to be walking through World of Darkness. Now, we're going to be doing trash and bosses, so don't worry, you won't be lost at all after watching this video. The first fight, as you can see right here, is 3 Chimera from Cutters. They're going to do their voices, which you really only have to worry about the Ram's one, because it will still freeze you. The other one doesn't do as much damage, well, percent-wise, as it did in Cutters, so no big deal. Tear these guys apart, and as you can see, 3 circles will spawn all around the room. You just have to watch out for them. Other than that, it's an easy fight. Moving right along, we have the 2-headed dragon, which spawns right after the last Chimera dies. This fight has absolutely nothing to it. The off-tanks will pick up all of the sacrifice ninjas, and the main tank will pick up the 2-headed dragon. I suggest putting down the 2-headed dragon first, because it does all the cone AoEs and, the circle AoEs and all the DPS and stuff. It's really annoying, but there is no really right or wrong answer to which one to kill first. But again, I personally would put down the 2-headed dragon. Now we're up to the first boss. As a DPS or a healer, you'll want to stand to the direct side of it. Reason being is because the front of it will turn blue, the back of it will turn red, as you'll see in a second. You'll need to alternate between blue and red during the entire fight. You don't want to get hit by blue twice or red twice. And there it is. So just make sure you're in the opposite color every time. Next up in the bag of tricks for this boss is Mortal Gaze. Now, you can either turn your back like I just did, in which case you don't get hit, or if you fail to turn in time, and you get hit with it, you have to go stand on the lit plate, which will change to 1 of 4. So, best to just turn. Now we've got the hourglasses. 4 hourglasses are spawned around the outside. Just DPS them down, making sure that they're all down before going back to the boss. It's also best to keep your back to the boss, because it'll cast Mortal Gaze, as you'll see in a moment, while still doing the hourglass phase. This way here, you can dodge it and continue to do the hourglass. After the hourglasses are dead, one of the 4 sections will light up and then explode. Just stay out of it. Nothing really to worry about there. At certain points during this fight, 2 adds will spawn. Each off-tank will grab one. Make sure to put them down because they will cast an AoE that actually does quite a bit of damage and will eat through stone skin with no problem. Keep in mind that blue and red can still happen while the adds are up, as well as Mortal Gaze. Alright, back to more trash. So this guy, he's going to have 3 gates on either side. So, when they spawn, make sure to take out the center gate, because a big ad will spawn out of there, and it's really annoying. So as a DPS, just make sure you take that down. Off-tanks have no job during this phase, but they will tank anything that comes out, because of DPS not being fast enough. After killing the Siliclone and all the little ads, there's a chest. When you open it, there will be 6 more gates and a Xandi clone in the center. Go ahead and take out the center gates again to stop the ad from popping out. Now, if you fail to get the gates, make sure that you take down the ad that comes out of the center gate. Other than that, it's just finish them all off. Second boss time. This one has a lot of quirks, but don't worry, we'll go over them all. And there's even one way that you can suicide during him, so we'll cover that too. Off-tanks, you're not going to have much of a job if DPS does what they're supposed to. There is one thing that you're going to need to do, but as a DPS, you're going to need to kill prominences. You're going to see one show up on the right side of the screen right there. Now, unfortunately, I failed because I was answering a phone call, but we'll see a different one in a second. Here's one that I did not fail on. So you're going to want to take them all down, otherwise see that thing that they're casting? It'll blow up and deal damage to the entire raid. Next up is what I like to call the Swirl of Death, that thing that just landed over there on the right side of my screen. Not only does it freeze, but it expands after, and anyone who gets caught in any of its layers will be frozen until it goes away, as well as taking damage. Next up is Slime. When it falls down, you don't want to be in it, but an off-tank, this is your job now, you will jump into the slime. For every second that there's not someone in there, you'll start getting slimes. The slimes will fuse together, they'll get bigger, and then they'll explode. All bad things. So jump in the slime. And now we have the suicide mechanic. As you just saw, the ground turned red, and then we got hit with something called pyretic. Now, until it stops, until it disappears, you cannot move, you cannot attack, you cannot auto-attack, you cannot do anything, or else it'll hit you for 500 damage for every half second that you're doing something. One last thing about this boss. He's going to start casting Discordance, or however it's pronounced, and all of his heads will become attackable. Every time a head dies, he restarts the cast time on Discordance. You want to make sure all the heads are down before the cast bar finishes. It will finish, there's no way to stop it, but it does more damage for every head that's alive when he does cast it. This is an auto wipe if all heads are up. For this trash fight, A goes left, B goes center, C goes right. The orange thing in the center is what you actually need to hurt, and once we start attacking, you'll see a bar pop up under the dungeon timer. The Venus flytraps that you see at everyone's platform is what you need to hurt. Every time you quote-unquote kill them, they'll respawn, but it'll do damage to the bar. As you can see, the bar is almost out right now. Now, as you saw when this clip first started, there was a light underneath where I was standing. When you step on the platform that's lit up, it lights these up down here, allowing people to come back up if they get knocked off. Very important. He'll also target someone and suck them in, as you just saw right there. He'll do a little bit of damage to you, and then he'll spit you out and off. Just step in a platform, come back up, no big deal. The ad that he spawns can be ignored if your DPS is high enough. So, there's that, at least. Alright, pat yourself on the back. You are now officially done with all the trash. There's only 2 bosses left. For Cerberus here, he's got a few fun things, but you'll want to fight him at the side, and healers you'll want to be at the side too, or really far back, because he'll do a tail swipe that you'll see here in a second, that it's almost impossible to dodge, because the second you see the cone, it's already casting, and you're screwed. At some point, he will turn, target a player, and he will hit them with a mob, actually. It'll be called Gastric Juices. Do not attack it. You want to get caught in its AoE. It will give you a debuff called Mini. While you're Mini, you'll do less damage, but you can go jump into his purple vomit, for lack of a better thing to call it. He will eat you when you go inside here. If you are full size when you go inside the purple vomit, he will instantly kill you. But if you're Mini, he will swallow you, as you'll see in a second. Or second. Okay, there we go. So you get swallowed down. Once you're inside the stomach, you need to attack the stomach walls. Ignore the unknowns. Just kill the stomach walls, and only DPS goes inside. Only DPS. The off-tank should be outside right now fighting the wolfsbanes, making sure that when the DPS comes out and starts beating on the wolfbanes, that they don't get aggro. The healers do not come inside here as well. They stay outside healing everyone. So tear through all the stomach walls. After all of them are done, you will get flushed out, as you'll see here in a second. Come on. There we go. Once you're out, you will no longer be Mini. If you take too long in there, you will be digested and instantly killed. Tanks, at this point, need to grab the tethers, as you can see that one tank running it in there, and attaching it to the open tether. It is an actual clickable item. You will now, as a DPS, be taking down the wolfsbanes that the off-tanks have been tanking this whole time. You will then get in some free damage time. You can wait to tether the boss. If you wait to tether the boss, the DPS can do more damage before the boss starts casting all of his stuff again. The boss will also cast those little lightning spheres. Just stay out of them. It's the same thing as doing Temple. Last thing for this boss, he will start casting something called Hound Out of Hell. He will dash in a straight line, whatever direction he's facing, before running back to the tank. ensure that you dodge it. It will hurt a lot. Time for the last boss. Now, throughout this fight, you will get hit with a circle like that. Someone will be targeted. Basically, satellite beams will come down attacking, so make sure you run away from the group and don't follow the satellite beams as that guy just did. Also throughout this fight, she will occasionally disappear. Find her quickly and get out of the center of wherever she's looking, because as you just saw, there's huge laser beams that go across the center, which also are not laser beams of tickleness. This next one is a possible auto-wipe mechanic. If not enough people get into the meteors before they fall and take the damage, one person per meteor, then everyone takes the damage instead of one person taking the damage of the meteor. So if like 3 are missed, everyone dies. Next up, we have the cloud phase. The ground will turn yellow, warning you that it's going on. Find the clouds and kill them before they reach her. For every cloud that reaches her, she'll stack an extra AoE after this phase. She's guaranteed to do 1, so if I think 2 clouds, maybe it was 3, it's really hard to count. But 2 or 3 clouds reach her, you're automatically wiping the group. During this phase, as you can see, meteors will also spawn, so besides taking care of the clouds, make sure DPS is jumping into these meteors to avoid a wipe before the wipe of the clouds. There are a lot of auto-wipe mechanics in this one. Just, if everyone knows what they're doing, it actually is quite easy. I know it sounds scary. Next up, we have what's called the whack-a-mole phase. These shadow lurkers will be spawned when she spits out flare-looking things. All you have to do is target them, hit them once, move on to the next one. If any of these are still up, they can slow people for the next phase, which, needless to say, is very bad. We'll see why. For this next part, you'll want to make sure that at where the white protrudes in, you want to mark A, B, and C at all 3 sides, because everyone needs to get into Hexagon and take down their cloud. If everyone takes down their cloud, you don't have to worry about it. If at least 2 clouds are left up, it's an auto-wipe by an AoE that comes out. It occurred to me that people may think that I was, being overly cautious about marking and such. So here's what happened the time before all of the spots were marked. No one knew where to go. 2 groups basically piled into one, half a group into each of the others. And because of that, there wasn't enough DPS to take down the clouds that were inside. And as you'll see, boom, there goes the initial wipe. Now, sure, some people survived, but, you can't recover from something like that. So just keep in mind, people. Mechanics are important. Alright? I hope everybody enjoyed the video. And as always, like and subscribe if you want to see more. Alright? I'll catch you guys next week.